Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today we have predictions for 3 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Portland Trail Blazers and Charlotte Hornets. The Portland Trail Blazers hit the road again, this time heading to Charlotte to face the Hornets, and I've got to say, this matchup is sneaky interesting. Sure, we're talking about 2 teams near the bottom of their respective conferences, but there's still some intrigue here, especially with the way Portland has been playing lately. The Blazers are riding a rare 3-game win streak, which, let's be honest, isn't something anyone expected given their season so far. They've knocked off the Bulls, Heat, and Magic, with the defense stepping up big time. That last game against Orlando, they held them to just 79 points, which is wild considering Portland's defense has been one of the league's worst. It's like they flipped a switch these past few games, and while I wouldn't say they've suddenly turned into a lockdown squad, they've been showing some real fight. Now, Portland's got some issues to deal with. They're playing their 3rd game in 4 nights, coming off a back-to-back, and let's not forget the injuries piling up. DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simons, and others have all been on the injury report, which could make things dicey here. Simons has been solid when healthy, but if he can't go, that's a lot of scoring missing from their lineup. Scoot Henderson is still finding his groove in the league, and while he's shown flashes, the rookie's been up and down. On the other side, the Hornets have been surprisingly scrappy lately. They've won 4 of their last 5, with LaMelo Ball absolutely balling out. This guy is putting up nearly 30 a night, and it's not just scoring, he's controlling the pace, getting his teammates involved, and doing everything you want from your franchise player. Mark Williams had himself a game against Memphis, dropping 38 points, and if he keeps that energy, Portland's going to have a tough time handling him in the paint. Losing Brandon Miller for the season hurts, no doubt about it, but Charlotte's still finding ways to compete. They've got a bit of swagger going right now, and with this game being at home, they're in a good spot to keep that momentum going. Here's the thing, Portland's schedule isn't doing them any favors. Traveling on a back-to-back and playing tired is tough enough, but when you add in the injuries and how short-handed they are, it's hard to see them pulling this one out. Meanwhile, Charlotte is rested, they're at home, and they've got the firepower to take advantage of a Blazers team that's running on fumes. I'm leaning toward the Hornets in this one. They've been moving the ball well, hitting their shots, and with LaMelo orchestrating things, I expect them to control the tempo. Portland's recent run has been fun to watch, but this just feels like a bad spot for them. I'd take Charlotte to cover the 4-point spread and get it done at home. This isn't exactly a blockbuster matchup, but hey, sometimes these lower-profile games surprise you. I'm rolling with the Hornets.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and Philadelphia 76ers. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers are heading into tonight's matchup with completely different vibes. On one hand, you've got the Cavs, sitting pretty at the top of the Eastern Conference with a 36-7 record, looking like the team to beat. On the other, you've got the 76ers, battered, bruised, and barely staying afloat with a rough 15-27 record. If you're Philly, you're trying to salvage some dignity at this point, while Cleveland is focused on getting right back in the win column after a tough loss to the Houston Rockets. Let's talk about Cleveland first. This squad has been a machine all season, combining firepower with suffocating defense. Even when they stumble, like they did against Houston, you know they're going to bounce back. That game against the Rockets? Sure, it ended in a 1-point loss, but it wasn't because Cleveland played poorly. It was a classic case of missed opportunities. Darius Garland, who's been lights out for the most part, couldn't knock down those clutch free throws at the end. You know that's eating at him, and you can bet he's coming into Philly with a chip on his shoulder. The last time these two teams met, Cleveland completely dismantled the Sixers, running away with a 27-point blowout. Garland was cooking that night, dropping 26 points on ridiculous efficiency, 9, 4, 11 from the field, and 6, 4, 7 from deep. Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell chipped in their usual brilliance, and the bench was on fire. The Cavs didn't just win, they dominated every aspect of the game. They outshot Philly, out-rebounded them, and locked them down defensively. If Cleveland brings even half of that energy tonight, it's going to be a long evening for the Sixers. Now, Philly, man, it's been rough. This team was supposed to be a contender in the East, but injuries have turned them into a shell of what they could have been. Joel Embiid is still out, and without him, their interior presence is non-existent. They've been giving up too many second-chance points and letting opponents feast in the paint. Even when Embiid was in the lineup earlier in the season, they struggled to find consistency. Tyrese Maxey has been doing everything he can, and while he's been solid offensively, he just doesn't have enough help around him. When these two squared off last month, Philly showed some fight in the first half, even holding a halftime lead. But once Cleveland turned it up in the second half, it was game over. Jared McCann, who's also out tonight, dropped 34 points in that game, but without him and Embiid, Philly's chances look even slimmer. The Sixers have been dreadful on the boards, and their ball movement has been stagnant. They rank dead last in assists per game. Those are two areas they have to fix if they want any shot at staying competitive tonight. Cleveland has been money against the spread this season, especially on the road, where they're 14-6. Philly, on the other hand, has been the opposite, just 4-14-1 against the spread at home. That says everything you need to know about where these teams are right now. The Cavs are well coached, deep, and locked in on both ends of the floor, while the Sixers are scrambling just to put together a healthy rotation. I can't see this one going any other way. Cleveland will come into Philly ticked off after that Houston loss, and they've got the firepower to take control early and never look back. Jarrett Allen should dominate the paint, Garland and Mitchell will attack the lane all night, and Philly just doesn't have the defensive chops to keep up. If the Sixers are going to lose by 27 when they were healthier, I don't see how tonight will be any different. This is Cleveland's game to win, and I'm rolling with them not just to win, but to cover the 9-point spread comfortably. This one's going to be all Cavs all night. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the New Orleans Pelicans and Memphis Grizzlies. The Pelicans roll into Memphis with some serious momentum, riding a 4-game winning streak that's turned a few heads. They've picked up wins against the Bulls, Mavericks, and back-to-back against the Jazz, which has folks starting to believe this team might finally be figuring things out. Sure, their 12-32 record still has them sitting near the bottom of the Western Conference, but things are starting to click. Injuries have been the Pelicans' Achilles heel all season. DeJounte Murray, brought in to be the floor general, barely got his jersey sweaty before breaking his hand and missing nearly 2 months. CJ McCollum stepped up big time in his absence, but the real question mark has been Zion Williamson. When Zion is on the floor, you can feel his impact. He's a difference maker. But between his injury issues and some questionable discipline, like showing up late to a team meeting before the Houston game, there's been a cloud hanging over his season. Meanwhile, Brandon Ingram has been out since late November, but there's a chance he suits up for this one. If Ingram does return, he could give the Pelicans the extra boost they desperately need, especially on offense. On the defensive side, though, New Orleans is still a mess. They rank as one of the league's worst defensive teams, and that's been their biggest Achilles heel. Combine that with an offense that's just middle of the pack, and it's clear why they've struggled to keep up in the standings. On the flip side, Memphis has been a whole different story. Sitting at 29-15, they've been a force to be reckoned with, and their home court is practically a fortress with a 17-5 record. The Grizzlies have a unique playing style that stands out in today's NBA. Most teams rely on the pick and roll to generate offense, but Memphis takes a different route, running a lot less of it and instead focusing on spacing, ball movement, and quick decisions. It's tailor-made for a guy like Ja Morant, who's averaging a cool 21.3 points and 7.5 assists per game. The dude has matured this season, leaving behind the off-court drama and focusing on leading his squad. Then there's Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been nothing short of phenomenal. The guy's stuffing the stat sheet with 22.6 points per game while also being an absolute menace on defense. Whether it's swatting shots or picking pockets, he's doing it all. This team's got the 5th best offense in the league and backs it up with a defense that's just as elite, ranking 5th in defensive rating. This matchup is intriguing because the Pelicans are starting to get their guys back, but Memphis at home is a whole different beast. Even if Ingram suits up, he's been out for so long that it's hard to know what kind of impact he'll have right out of the gate. And let's be real, throwing him into the fire against a team like Memphis isn't exactly easing him back in. If I were the Pelicans, I'd probably sit him for one more game and let him shake off the rust against Charlotte instead. Memphis just came off a wild one against Charlotte, where they had a 30-point lead in the first half before letting the Hornets claw back into it. They still won by 12 and covered the spread by half a point, but it wasn't as comfortable as it should have been. Even so, the Grizzlies have been a cover machine all season, and they've been cashing tickets from left and right. That said, I'm not looking to pick a side in this one. Memphis is favored by 12, and while they've been dominant at home, the Pelicans are a different team than they were a month ago. What I do like, though, is the total. Memphis plays with a blistering pace, leading the league in second-half scoring, and New Orleans has been getting buckets in transition and on second-chance opportunities. With the Grizzlies' firepower and the Pelicans' shaky defense, this one feels like it's going to be a track meet. I'm taking the total to go over 241.5 points. This game has all the ingredients for a shootout, and I wouldn't be surprised if both teams light it up. Let's sit back and enjoy the fireworks.